What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode. Sorry for the long break, but we're back. We got more episodes on the way. We had the one and only Rob Cartwright on today. It was a very great episode. Best one yet. Let me know what you think. Any feedback is appreciated. Enjoy your day. Hi, Rob Cartwright, aka the Cat. What's good, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Thanks for being here. I'm good.
Thank you for having me. I'm
Yeah,
excited
for
to be
sure.
here.
I threw out the Cat. Now, I don't know how much that's sticking outside of J-Law, but he calls you that because you're quick. So my question to you is, have you always been quick?
You know, I've actually I've been really fortunate to have developed some speed over my time as a basketball player. As I grew up, that was just one thing that I had over, some of my peers, and it's just something that, I've definitely tried to use to my advantage on the basketball court.
So from as long as you can remember, you were just going by people? Because you have a way of, you're just by or around people. That's just kind of what you do.
Yeah, man, it's, I don't know. It's just something that, I realized that I could do, and I just try to exploit that as much as I can with my defenders, and I try to use it both offensively and defensively, and it's definitely helped me in every level of basketball that I played in.
Right. Did you play other sports growing up?
I was actually a soccer player. Also, basketball and soccer were my two main sports. I played everything growing up to some extent, but those are the two sports that I really loved more than any other. It really made me sad when I had to give up soccer because they're the same high school season. But yeah, I think I attribute a lot of my basketball success to my soccer skills, especially as a point guard. I played center mid as a soccer player, so having to see the whole field and be able to manipulate the defense has really helped in certain ways, like with my court vision and some of my footwork. So I definitely attribute soccer to a lot of that.
100%. Do you feel or have you felt as if you're overlooked?
At times. Some of that, it just depends. I've also been very lucky. I was actually recruited at a really high level out of high school.
Right.
I was pretty highly ranked by some of the recruiting services. So in a lot of ways, I feel very fortunate to end up where I ended up. But, there have been times I feel I've been slighted in certain aspects of my basketball career.
Like
but, there's always certain assumptions people make just based on my skin color, which is kind of ironic. But, I'm just a shooter, or I'm just, I can attack this guy just based on looking at me, which makes sense. But, when you have a different coach come in who doesn't recruit you, he might look at you a little bit differently compared to someone he brings in. And all I'd say is this: I've been very fortunate in my basketball career. I've had some bad luck, but I've also had some good luck. So I wouldn't change any of the experiences that I've had.
What would you say is some bad luck that you've had?
2 weeks before my sophomore season, I had a complete torn. I completely shattered my arm going up for a layup. I had a compound open fracture with severe ligament damage to my elbow. And then I had a third surgery, which was to repair a completely dead nerve in my median nerve. So that was really unfortunate.
Yeah. That was
because
2 weeks before season?
I was 2 weeks before season. I had a great foreign tour in Italy with their Stanford team. They had made it pretty clear that, they wanted to give me the keys and have the opportunity to lead the team, and I felt good mentally and physically. So that was really unfortunate. Then my coach got fired. That recruited me, Coach Dawkins, and we brought in another coach, Coach Haas. And, it was just tough. Tough transition. That year, I was really inconsistent with my shot. I really rushed to get back, and I didn't nail down some of the mechanics. So some of that's, my fault. Some of that's just unfortunate. So I ended up having to transfer to UC Irvine, and ended up having a lot of success there, which was great.
Did you struggle with, like, did you have problems with your arm when you were coming back?
Yeah, absolutely. I still don't have full range of motion. I never will. And the truth is, I have most functionality back. Like,
Right.
there are a lot of things that I can do that I was scared that I wouldn't be able to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I had to totally reconstruct my shot. There are certain things with the basketball and just daily life that are a little bit harder. Certain weightlifting exercises that I was able to do that I might be able to do on the left side that I simply just cannot because I don't have the range of motion. So in that way, it's been tough, but given where I was at and what some of the doctors said could potentially come from my arm injury, I feel very fortunate that I'm able to get back and basically be 100%.
Yeah. Would you say that's the biggest adversity you faced through your basketball career? Not necessarily.
I'd say yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, injuries are an unfortunate part of the game in all sports, and a lot of the time you can't really control it. Especially something like that. You can never really prepare for that freak accident. But, there are obviously a lot of other things that have happened, good and bad.
Yeah.
But I'd say in terms of, a real moment, gut check moment, where do I go from here? How much do I really love the game?
Yeah.
Do I really want to fight through this? I'd say that was tough because that was total 4 surgeries in 3 months.
Wow.
So, that was really a time and where I really had to look myself in the mirror and say, okay, what do you really love in life? And I figured that, okay, it is basketball for me. So, I've just continued to deal with all the adversity that I felt in certain situations, because if I can get through that, I can really just get through anything.
Was that your number one thing you took away from the injury? Was that you love basketball, or what else did you learn through it?
Yeah, I always knew that I loved basketball, but it really made me understand, okay, basketball is extremely important to me. I knew it always was, but I was in a lot of pain a lot of the time, and I really had to fight through, and I was doing, the most basic exercises just to, if you look silly, right? Because you're just you're playing with marbles and exactly. So, especially to reconstruct the nerve damage. So, the biggest takeaway was, I have a strong work ethic and I want to keep playing basketball as long as I can.
Right. So you just had your first year pro, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where were you again?
So I was in Peja, Kosovo. It's in the Balkan region of Europe, near countries like Croatia, Albania.
Talk to me. What was that like?
It was an interesting experience.
During COVID, right?
Yeah,
COVID.
So I went out there. I know that it's not the richest country in the world. It's actually relatively poor partly because they are a new country, and it's pretty small. There's actually some pretty nice scenery out there, and the basketball part was actually pretty good. The teams, it's a small league in their top division, so they pretty much spread out their top national team guys pretty evenly throughout the league, and you have your 3 foreigners, and I feel like pretty much anywhere you play, they're going to be really good basketball players, and so guys I played against were all very high level. With it being COVID, there were definitely some complications. You couldn't really do much. I ended up getting COVID out there. It was very cold, and I think that was one part that I didn't love. It was the gyms. The heating systems weren't that ideal.
Cold in there?
They were freezing. I mean, it almost felt like sometimes the gyms were colder than it was outdoors. I mean, it was that cold. You're breathing air, and you're breathing, and you can see your breath when you're so that was not always ideal, but I took it as a really positive experience because I needed to play my first professional season, and I feel like I got a lot out of it.
Right.
Was it perfect? Absolutely not. But I am grateful for that opportunity.
How'd you guys do? Did you guys play well?
Yeah, so we ended up having a lot of coaching changes, so it was kind of hard to get a rhythm at times. And pro basketball, especially some of those Balkan region countries, they might change coaches, and then those coaches want to bring in their own players. So I had to deal with that. There were, I think, a total of 6 different coaches that ended up coaching at least one game for us, which was definitely
6 coaches coaching one game?
At least one game.
Were they getting ejected or fired on the spot?
One coach left. A couple were, getting fired.
So they were quitting, getting fired?
It was a mixture of a lot of things. And, and then a couple coaches had to just step in and
That's interesting.
due to necessity. One had to coach due to COVID. So that was less than ideal. But, the games that I played were overall positive. We started off the season 7-1. I ended up leaving a little bit before the season ended, but the team ended up losing in the finals. So the team had a good season. But yeah, I ended up leaving about a month early.
Did you meet some cool teammates?
Yeah, there were some good guys, good players that I bonded with. Luckily, the guys speak English because you just don't really know anybody out there, and especially in a COVID situation, you're not really going out and meeting anybody. So. You definitely develop some camaraderie with those guys, and you're eating your meals with them. So I'm definitely fortunate that I met some good guys.
What makes a good teammate to you in your eyes?
So sometimes off the court, I like to kind of get my mind away from the game, because you just don't want to be basketball all the time. You just need that mental break, especially for me. Maybe some guys are different, but I just feel like. So if, when you can just talk about other things and just completely get away from the game at times, that's good. And, just have a light conversation. I mean, honestly, on the court, I feel like is the most important. The relationships you have with guys on the court is really important because, that's what you're there for. But off the court, I just feel like it's important to have, some people that you can talk to, talk about other things, and just have a basic conversation with them. That's really all I'm looking for.
For sure. Now, with it being COVID, were you able to do anything fun in the city, or go out or see anything, or were you stuck?
I mean, to tell you the truth, for a long period of time, we were on a really strict schedule. So, our games were 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, early in the afternoon, and we'd have to be back in our apartments by 7, sometimes 6.
Wow.
So, and that was for, a huge portion of the part I was there. So to be honest, no, I didn't really get to do a whole lot. But in the same way, I'm not really a guy that likes to go out too much, especially when I'm in season. I just kind of like to focus on what the task at hand, and I don't mind, just kind of being in a space where I can talk to my friends and my family and just relax, watch some TV. So for me, it really wasn't that big of a issue. I wish I could have done some more.
Yeah.
I mean, especially sometimes on the weekend, but for the most part, I just handled it. But there isn't a ton to do out there. Yeah. It's not a huge city.
Yeah.
But
was the food all right?
Yeah, so I actually enjoyed the food a lot. I was skeptical about the type of cuisine I'd be having out there, but there's definitely a lot of Western influence on some of their cuisine options, and I enjoyed it a lot. It was pretty carb heavy. But we basically ate at one specific restaurant a lot, and that can be kind of tiring at times, but for the most part, there were a lot of really good options, so I was able to enjoy it and, not get sick of it, which was good.
So you're in the gym a lot with J-Law training. Where did you learn, or where'd you get your work ethic from? Because, you're a hard worker, I would say.
Yeah. You hear no one can be Kobe. I mean, what he does is just an entirely different level. But when you grow up, I was a huge Kobe fan growing up, and when you hear stuff that he does and players at that level do, you realize that it's not really something you have a choice if you really want to achieve anything significant in this game. And, there are times I wish in high school and maybe even earlier that I'd worked a little bit harder. Maybe I'd be, even further along than I am. But, it's just something that you learn with maturity. You learn how important it is to work every day, whether that means actually getting shots up in the gym, lifting, taking care of your body for a rest day, because that's almost as important as anything, because you can't just grind, at least in my experience. You can't just grind every single day. Otherwise, I feel like you might burn out. So, just finding that rhythm, especially during the off season, to make sure you're getting your work in and making it be efficient and worth it. So I don't know where I really got that from. It's just something that over time you figure that it's really important to achieve the levels and high levels that everyone else that you want to achieve.
Right. What do you enjoy most about the gym?
What you mean?
Like our training facility.
Oh.
When you're
honestly, the people. I think that it's incredible the people that J-Law has around him. First of all, he's a great individual. I mean, I can see why so many people have wanted to work with him. He's just so ultra positive, and he's brought in everyone that he's brought in has, those same values, that same high character, positive energy that any basketball player, any person would want to be around. So I think that's as influential as anything, and it obviously is a really beautiful facility. So all those factors, and it's good training. I mean, that's as important as anything. Right. But the runs, are very high level, and I feel like I gain a lot from that. But I'd say all those factors are really important, and why, as long as I'm playing, I expect to be out training here.
Yeah. You live out in Laguna, right?
So I was born in Pasadena. When I'm home, I spend a couple of days a week out there. I am currently staying in Laguna. Okay. But yeah, or just OC in general, but currently I am staying in a condo in Laguna.
What do you enjoy doing with your free time outside of the grind? Or so when you're not working, what hobbies, what do you like doing?
Yeah, I'm a pretty simple guy. I just like to hang out with my friends, hang out with my girlfriend, go see movies. I didn't realize how much I enjoy just being around the beach. I'm kind of inland in Pasadena, so I just didn't really do that a ton growing up. So being in Newport, I was in Newport for a while, and right next to the beach, and I realized, wow, it's just so nice to kind of take little walks, just sit in the sand. So all those kind of things, and now that things are starting to open up, go out to a bar for a trivia night, have a game night. Yeah. Like I said, go see a movie. I haven't done that yet, but I plan to. So those are all the kind of things outside of the court, just to relax, enjoy my time off, and just kind of collect my thoughts.
That theater at the Spectrum looks legit. Have you seen that?
I have. I haven't been inside it yet, but I fully intend to hopefully see the new Fast and Furious movie out there.
Okay. What are you working towards right now? Like, where's your energy going?
I just want to see, how far I can get in the basketball worlds. Going to Kosovo was the first step, and now my agent is doing his thing, trying to figure out what's next. I'm hopefully heading out to China in the next week or 2 weeks, depending on the visa application process, which has been very difficult. Just given the COVID situation out there, especially. Yeah. But
that's for a unique experience. Can you speak more on that? Or?
Yeah. So I'm heading out there. I was invited to go to the Dunk of China reality show. They've had some former NBA players do it in the past, and it's supposedly the most popular reality basketball show in the country. And China loves their basketball, so some of their bigger companies like Alibaba get behind it and fund it. So I'm really excited about that experience. I've been out to China once, but it was only for a short period of time. So very interested to kind of be in that culture and that environment. And also while I'm out there, I'll be playing a lot of other like money tournament games and doing a lot of other maybe mini appearances. I'm not exactly sure. When I get out there, I'll be able to get a little bit more clarity on what I'll be doing on a day-to-day basis, because our timeline has already been pushed back due to this visa application process taking longer than expected. So once I get out there, I'll have much more understanding on what my day-to-day activities will be. But I'm excited about that opportunity.
I think you're gonna kill that. You're gonna fit right in on that reality TV show.
I hope so, man. I'm excited. It's maybe get some Chinese followers or something.
Right. What's the scariest thing you've ever done? Pretty random, but
I'd say the most dangerous thing that I've ever done.
Scariest.
Scariest. Man.
You could give dangerous though too.
Well, I just mean scary and dangerous because I once went like cliff diving or cliff jumping into a river, and I just remember almost hurting myself the way I landed in the water, and I kind of vowed never to do something like that again, because that just wasn't really smart. But it was just one of those.
Shallow?
It was way too shallow, and the way I fell in was kind of backwards, like my head kind of almost hit the rocks at the bottom. So that was one of the sillier things I've done, and I wouldn't recommend that in that type of place. But scary. I don't know. I try to stay away from, I guess, scary activities.
What are you fearful of?
I mean, as cliche as it sounds, I guess I'm scared of like failing at certain things, like not living up to my potential and expectations of myself. Not working hard enough to not achieve certain goals that I have in life.
Yeah.
That's definitely one thing. I don't really have like of course you look down when you're at a certain height and it's like, oh geez, like that's scary. But I wouldn't say that I have any significant fears. Like I'm not scared of spiders or snakes. So I don't really have any like significant fears, true fears.
Have you thought of what you want to do outside of basketball or when you're done with the game? Or
Now that is a very interesting question because I've thought about it, but I don't know. So I do feel very fortunate that I do have an undergraduate degree from Stanford and a master's degree from UC Irvine. I feel like that's definitely something that I can use in some capacity. But to tell you the truth, I just don't know exactly where I want to go, which maybe is okay, but I do realize that I am getting older. And when the ball stops bouncing for me, I will have to decide. But there are very few things that I enjoy more than being in the sports world, particularly basketball, but also football. And I'm just a avid fan. So
you like football? Like football or soccer?
I love football.
Okay.
I love watching football. I'm a huge football guy. I mean, I love watching soccer too, but basketball and football to watch are my two favorite sports to watch. So I feel like something in the sports realm, whether that's coaching, something in a front office, or some sort of sports business, anything relating to that would be great. I've also thought about real estate, and I feel like there are just going to be a lot of things that I dabble with.
Yeah, you'll figure that out.
Yeah, and I feel like I can do a lot of that, but what I want to do with the majority of my time is still up in the air for me.
For sure. Well, people at the gym have been saying that you're basically a character right out of a movie. So maybe this reality TV show will open some doors for you.
That's one thing that, is a very enticing proposition is like, look, I'll be on camera. We'll see where that leads.
Yeah.
If that's something that I really enjoy, then maybe that could lead to something. Maybe someone in China, will have some sort of business idea for me in the future. So that's why, though it's hard to leave family, friends, girlfriend especially, when an opportunity like this comes, I just feel like you have to take it because it's one of those things you'll always regret if you don't.
It's a great experience, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, go out, live your life, and that's just what I'm trying to do right now.
That's cool. Last question. Crazy times in the world, whatever you want to call it, but what does the world need more of?
The world needs a lot. I just feel like we need more love and compassion more than anything. It's really sad when you see the conflict, not even just in the world, in our own country. I mean, we're so divided as a people. I mean, how could we possibly be united with other countries if we can't even, be in the same room and have conversations and just be so divided in our own country? It is disappointing and hard to see. So I wish there were certain issues that we could all unite upon at least a little bit. And, I feel like, we need to take global warming a little more seriously worldwide. I feel like that's definitely a significant issue. But really just I hate that there are wars of religion. I'm not super religious myself. I do believe in God. I do pray to God, but I'm not, here as like a major Christian. But I don't like when wars, I feel like all religion should be, I don't want to say anything wrong here, but there shouldn't be so much about what's right and what's wrong. They should all, have some sort of more common, yeah, exactly. So, love and compassion, I'd say those are, if we can start with that and having an understanding for people and not so much judgment and not so much hate, that could be, a great start. But will it ever happen? I don't believe so. That's what's sad. I hate to be cynical.
Be optimistic, man.
I'll try to be. It's just, I feel like it's just one of those things that it will be really, really hard to accomplish.
We'll make it. Rob, thank you for being here, brother.
Thanks for having
Appreciate
me, Max.
you. That was fun.
It was.
Bang.
Yeah.
That was dope.
That was good, man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
For sure.